Hey guys, welcome to the Average Old Guy. Today we are out running on week 6 of the Vertical Mile Challenge training program, and how the weather's unbelievable. It's Memorial Day weekend and we got temps in the mid-50s, so it's incredibly nice to run today. Probably nothing at all like the race is going to be, but I'm out here today for a couple-hour run, and this may be the last really long run that, well, 2 hours is not really long, but it's long for me. And it may be the last really long run that I do before the actual race. So I'm trying to decide what shoes I'm gonna wear in the race. And that brings up a good point for discussion here. And that's race prep, how to prepare yourself for a race of any distance, really. And so we'll go over a few things that I've found over my years of racing that have helped me, and hopefully they'll help you. If you've read anything at all about race prep, I'm sure you've heard the old adage that nothing new on race day. And I have to say, through experience, that is 100% accurate. And that's why I'm out here today testing out some shoes, not because they're new. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. Both of my shoe choices are very old. They're nearing the end of their life, and I'm trying to decide which pair I'm going to wear in the race. But let me give you a personal story of something that went terribly wrong in my own life when I tried something new on race day. So in high school, we didn't have a whole lot of opportunity for races other than our track meets. Being from a small town, and in the 70s, running just wasn't near as popular as it is now. So our track coach found a 10-mile race a couple hours away and decided to try and take some of us guys on the distance team down to that race. Now, we had run 10 miles in practice all the time, so the distance itself wasn't a huge factor, but we'd never raced 10 miles. And it was near the end of track season. My shoes were kind of worn out, and I decided to buy some arch supports and put in. Of course, the day before the race was the first time I had ever worn them. Everything was going pretty well until about 5 miles. And then I could feel my arches getting really hot, and it just got worse and worse. And by 8 miles, I just couldn't run in those shoes anymore. So I ended up taking them off and running the last 2 miles barefoot, which back then there was no barefoot running. And oh, it was brutal. And by the time I got finished, my feet were just destroyed. I had blisters from the ball of my foot to my heel, both feet, and it probably took me a good 2 months to recover from that. And lesson learned at that point, nothing new on race day. So the first thing you really need to decide for any race is what you're going to wear. That's probably the most critical part of race prep, and that goes for your shoes, your socks, your pants, and your shirt. And for women, I guess which sports bra, what type of bra you're gonna wear, because what you don't want is to wear something that's gonna chafe you under your arms, on your nipples, and your crotch, because that will make for one miserable day. And that kind of testing is easy to do up front if you'll just make sure you go out and test everything you plan on wearing, and importantly, in the conditions that you plan to wear it. So for today, it's cool outside. I have no illusions that it's going to be cool for that race at the end of June. So what I'm wearing today is probably would not be a good test, but I've worn everything I own for years, way too many years. And I'm very comfortable in pretty much everything I own. So I've already decided I can wear pretty much anything in my inventory, and just trying to come up with the shoes will be my last piece of information I need for my kit. Now, after you get your kit sorted out, I think the next priority is always your hydration and or fueling strategy. And of course, that is totally related to the length of the race. I mean, if you're doing a 5K on the road, I don't think you need to worry about it at all. But again, I think it's based more on time than distance. So even a 10K on a trail will have potentially a radically different requirement than a 10K on the road. And that's where you need to experiment with how you're going to hydrate and how you're going to fuel. As far as fueling and hydration, it's always a good idea to try and find out what the race is offering. For a long race, they almost always post the mileages of their aid station, and oftentimes what they have, which is important. For a short race, they may have them every mile, they may have them every couple of miles, they may not have them at all for a 5K. So it's important for you to find out where in the race the aid is available. And again, it's important to find out what they have, but I would say anytime the race is over 2 hours, you need to plan on bringing your own to be in control of that and making sure that no matter what they have, you've got something you know you can count on. After many years of training and racing in the heat and humidity, I've realized that I prefer to keep my hydration and my fuel separate. So I tend to, on a longer race, run straight water if I can, and then gels for fuel. And my personal favorite gels are GU. I don't think it matters what gel you pick, you just need to find one that you like. I personally don't like fruit flavor, so I run their Indulgent series, chocolate, vanilla, salted caramel, and espresso. And I find that even after 3 or 4 hours of those, I can still take them. They don't kind of make you nauseous, where a couple hours with the fruit flavored ones and I'm just tired of them, I don't even want to eat anymore. So you just have to work and figure out what works for you and what schedule you want them to be on. So for me, I tend to do a gel every half an hour. I'll drink water every mile. So when my watch beeps on the mile, I'll take a swig of water. Oh, and I'm a trip. And then every half an hour, I'll take a gel. So when I find that'll keep me going for hours and hours. And that's what I plan to do with the Vertical Mile Challenge. And after your kit and your fueling hydration strategy, I would have what I call accessories. And that would be things like jewelry, your watch choice, your, like say, hydration pack, and even something like the camera that I'm carrying today, because I'm using my new GoPro, which is quite a bit heavier than my old one. And I don't want to find that out on race day, that is going to make my arms sore. So I'm out here the next couple of weeks carrying this camera. But it's important to recognize that, yeah, in a 5K, that stuff may be trivial, but in a marathon, it's not trivial, and it can make or break your race. So you need to be working on all those accessories throughout your training cycle and make sure you've narrowed down exactly what you're going to wear or what you're going to carry on race day. You'll have that nailed down in your arsenal and be ready for the final piece, which is the race course itself. Now, obviously, the best possible scenario is for you to run the entire course that you're going to be racing on. But if it's a long course or it's far away, that's obviously not going to be something you can do. So the next best thing is to try and find the course profile and match that in your training. And if you can find that you can maybe do parts of the course, you know, if it's a couple hours away, maybe one weekend you can go up and run the end of it or the beginning of it, and just have a way that you can familiarize yourself with the course, because that always takes a lot of anxiety away when you know where you're going and what the course is going to be like. As an absolute minimum for me, I try to run the beginning and ending mile or two of the course. And that's easy if it's a loop course, but it's not so easy if it's a point to point. And in that case, I try to make it a point to run the last 2 miles of the course, because there's nothing worse than being tired at the end of a race and not really knowing how much further you have to go. Even though your watch may say you got a mile or 2 miles, if you've seen that and you know and you got some reference points, it takes a lot of the stress off of you and makes it a lot easier to finish. So I would concentrate on that last couple of miles at a bare minimum, and that should get you through pretty much any race distance that you happen to be racing. So in summary, you got the whole overarching theme of nothing new on race day. And within that, you have your kit, you have your hydration and fueling strategy, you have your accessories, and you have your knowledge of the course. And if you get all those things right before race day, come race day, you'll be prepared to have a great race and have a great time and finish feeling good and ready for more. And that's the whole point of training to begin with, is to finish a race feeling good and being ready for more. All right, guys, we finished up today, a little over 2 hours in, and I'm feeling pretty good. I wasn't all fired up to come out here this morning. I thought it was going to rain. It didn't rain. It feels great, so I'm pretty happy about that. I haven't decided which shoes I'm going to wear yet, so that may come down, I don't know, may come down to race day just to see how that goes. But I hope you guys got some interesting information here. I hope it can be useful. If you have any experiences you want to share, some faux pas on race day, please let me know in the comments. If you have a different experience than mine and have some more information that would be helpful, please put that in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you on the next one.